in connections, which may happen at different points in different movies, the important thing is that these connections are emotional connections. They're not just silly set pieces to continue the comedy. It's important, especially important for a comedy. Comedies need to, at some point, slow down, tell the truth, drop the facade. In Groundhog Day, that moment happens after Bill Murray has convinced Rita that something weird is happening to him. And he convinced her because he goes through everybody in the cafe and he tells Rita all their stories because he's known them for so long. He's seen their stories for so long. And afterwards, they go back to, I guess, his hotel room, and they're just talking to each other on the bed, and he's saying, you know, I wake up and it's the same day, and she says to him, well, maybe it's not a curse. You know, I'd love to live 1,000 different lifetimes. He says, boy, you're a perky lady. And later that night, she's asleep, and he's reading French poetry to her because he's found out that she likes French poetry. And he starts to open his heart to her. And the funny story is that this part was written into the script because Bill Murray told Harold Ramis about the time that after he got married and his wife and he got to wherever they were going to honeymoon, it was really late, the wife went to sleep, and Bill Murray told Harold Ramis that what he did was, while she was sleeping, he was able to kind of open his heart to her and tell her everything that was on his mind and in his heart. And he was able to do that to her sleeping, that he wasn't able to tell her to her face. And Harold Ramis and Danny Rubin put it right into the script. And so it's this beautiful sequence in Groundhog Day where it's just the truth. He's just telling her what he feels. There's a similar moment in Spy when, having gotten to the villain's lair, she and everybody's holding a gun and everybody else, she simply reveals to Jude Law, I love you. I've always loved you. Who wants to sit in a basement filled with vermin and rats? I would have quit that a long time ago, but I just wanted to be around you. And so it's the moment when things slow down, people start to really share what's in their hearts with each other. Michael Haig calls this the getting naked moment. In many romantic comedies, it happens about halfway through. In Spy, it happens about 3/4 of the way through, just before the race to the finish. And in Spy, she tells Jude Law exactly what she's thinking. In Tropic Thunder, it's a moment about halfway through when, for the first time, Ben Stiller and Robert Downey Jr. start talking to each other. And Ben Stiller's talking about how he did this serious film called Simple Jack. And he was kind of aced out of the Oscars. The Oscars didn't give him any love. And Robert Downey Jr. says, well, I mean, you know why. Ben Stiller says, no, why? Robert Downey Jr. says, no, come on, you know why. Ben Stiller says, no, why? And that's the whole sequence when Robert Downey Jr. says, well, you went full tard. You can't go full tard. You can go half tard. You can't go full retard. And it's a very silly sequence, and in a very non-PC way, it's funny, but it's also the first time in the movie that these two characters have actually talked to each other, spent time with each other, shared with each other. So Connections is that moment of the comedy where you can slow the comedy down. People have to just say what's on their minds, tell the truth. As Michael Haig says, get naked, not necessarily naked physically, but naked emotionally.